Hi everyone and welcome to EasyPy 3. Thank you for enrolling onto the course. First, let me introduce you to my assistant Ellie. She'll be helping us throughout the course.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I will try to help you wherever I can.
I'll be your instructor for this course, so let me just tell you a little bit about myself. To start off, my name is Adam. I work as a lead process engineer and I have a master's degree in chemical engineering. I have been into programming, especially web development, from a young age. I created my first website in 2003 at the age of 12. You can work out how old I am if you want. Later on, I went on to learn PHP and SQL, which I used to develop an online game when I was 16, and I sold that later on when I was 18. Over the last few years, I've learnt Python for a project I was working on. That's where my passion for Python grew. Another thing to know about me is that I'm a big film buff, so you'll see many references throughout the course to keep you entertained. Finally, I have been tutoring and mentoring offline for the last about 10 years, but I am new to online, so hopefully you will like my teaching style. Now, the way I've kind of ordered this course is that firstly, you'll see the theory and you'll learn how things work in Python. Then you'll see me put that code into practice, so you'll see how it actually works. And then there'll be exercises for you to practice what you've learned. Before we begin learning about Python, it is important to know the basics about computer programs. If you know this stuff already, do feel free to skip ahead. I just want to make sure everybody doing this course is on the same page. So a computer program is a set of instructions for the computer to do a specific task. It's basically what makes the computer usable, because without it wouldn't do much. But how do we give these instructions to the computer? Well, like us humans, computers have their own language, and this is known as machine language. Their language is not very complex like our natural languages. It's rather basic, made up of binary information. Looks like Ellie has something to tell us.
Binary means there can only be two possible values, 0 and 1.
So then what are programming languages, you may ask? Well, we need a way of instructing the computer, so there has to be a common language. One which is simpler than natural human language, but more complex than machine language. A language to bridge the gap. This is where high-level programming languages come in. Python is one of them. Now that we have a language, we can start writing instructions or programs. A program written in a high-level language is called a source code. And when you go ahead and save that file, this file is known as the source file. The source code is not the same as the machine code, which is run by the computers. So the next logical question would be, if machine code is run by the computer, how do we run the source code? Well, to do that, the high-level programming language needs to be translated into a machine language which the computer understands. Generally, high-level programming language falls into one of two categories. Firstly, you have compiled, which means that the computer directly translates the source code using a compiler, or in simpler terms, a translator. The other category is interpreted, meaning the source code is not directly translated by the machine, the computer. Rather, it needs another program to do that, which is called the interpreter. Now, the interpreter reads through the source code line by line and runs it, unless there's an error in it. Another difference between the two is that if there is an error, a compiler will just show an error message, whereas the interpreter will tell you where that error is and what type of error it is. Python is an interpreted language, which means we'll need a Python interpreter to run our code. Later on, I will show you how to download it. But for now, that's all, folks. I hope you've enjoyed your first lesson. If you have any questions or need clarifications, please do not hesitate to ask. I am here to help.
See you in the next lesson.